Head Librarian of the Auburndale Public Library. This is K-9 Chico. Say hi, Chico. Say hi. And this is Corporal Leal. And
Hello.
they're partners. So we have a few questions that we thought you guys might like to know the answers to. And you guys get to see Chico in action a little bit today. Sound good? All right. So, tell us a little bit about your partner here.
So K-9 Chico is roughly 80 to 82 pounds. He's a full-blooded German Shepherd. He came from the Netherlands, which is over in Europe. Whenever we bought Chico from the vendor here in the United States, he had just come in 2 days prior, and it was negative 14 degrees before he was shipped over here.
That's quite an adjustment.
Yes, he was only 72 pounds at the time, but he looked much bigger because of all the hair.
They need that extra layer to keep them warm
Yes.
in the Netherlands.
And he was about right over 2 years old whenever we got him to become a Auburndale Police Department K-9.
Okay. Well, he's definitely a big boy. He looks like he likes Florida.
Oh yes.
Is it better than the cold, Chico? All right. So, how do dogs become K-9 officers?
So overseas they do a stringent breeding program, and they test a bunch of dogs over at the vendors over there. And the United States vendors fly over, test them once again, see if there's traits that would work out for police dogs. They got to be able to, what we call hunt drive, prey drive, go in, chase things in big bushes, and have a good work ethic. And so once they test them, they decide whether they're going to buy them or not, and then they bring them back to the States, and then they have big facilities where we go and test them. We tested Chico. We really liked how he performed, and then we started the K-9 training academy, which was 880 hours to get certified.
It's not just will they follow commands, will they listen? There's a lot of other factors that are involved.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's 880 hours to become a certified K-9 team.
Did you guys hear that? 880 hours. You guys can do the math on that later. I'm not going to. That's a lot of work.
And then we have to do continuing education training bi-weekly to keep up our certification, along with recertify in narcotics and basic routines to be able to work the streets
So you
every
guys
year.
are always training,
Yes, ma'am.
always getting more education.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, as a librarian, I have to love that. You know, I just have to.
Yes. Yeah, we are always training. Even to just eat his food at night, he does something work-related to get his food. Whether it's a quick sit down, come here, stay, and then he gets his food, he's always working for it. But these dogs strive for that condition. They want to work to please you.
So do they work more for that reward, or do they work more for the person? Is the person the reward, or is the food the reward?
It's the person. I want to make dad happy or mom happy,
Right.
whoever their handler is. You know, he will listen to my wife, and he'll listen to guys on shift that have toys that he's comfortable with, but other than that, he doesn't listen to. But ultimately, if I say do something that contradicts what they say, he listens to dad.
So if I could tell him something all day long and he wouldn't care.
Correct.
It didn't matter how stern I got. He'd be like, nah, you're not dad.
Yep.
I don't care. Okay.
Exactly.
So how old do the dogs have to be when they start their training?
So typically, they actually start as soon as they're puppies. Overseas, they start putting in the foundation. They have to chase around a towel, bite the towel. They put a big pit full of plastic bottles and cans and have the dogs run through it to test their environmental factors. So if they fail to do that, are they going to be scared to go into a building when they're working the streets? So they start the foundation work basically as soon as they can start walking. Once we select them, usually they're about anywhere from 10 months to 2.5 years, just depending on how much training went into them. You can get dogs that they call pre-titled in different aspects. So
is that like the drug dogs and the dogs that sniff out like guns and stuff? Is that
yes, but we do that. That's more of a specialty. But like it's called Schutzen training. Some dogs will go through that overseas. They see that they're not as high ranking as they want them, so they'll sell them as police dogs, and we get those dogs. So they may be a little bit older whenever we get them, but typically they're about 10 months to a year and a half when we get them.
So that's so young.
Yes.
When you think of it in terms as an adult child,
Mm-hmm.
you have to erase that thought
Yes.
completely.
Yes.
Yes. So, what breeds are the best breeds to be canines?
To be patrol canines, it would be either German Shepherds, which is what K-9 Chico is.
Right.
All around, just a great dog. There's Belgian Malinois and Dutch Shepherds, which are brindled Malinois, basically. Just a lot more hyper, a lot more energy. But it takes somebody very experienced as a new handler to work that type of dog.
I sort of say, what would a hyper dog be good for?
It's great for a lot of things, but you gotta know how to cap that and put it to work rather than destruction. Because if you give them too much time of not working, they're going to destroy things.
So use their energy for forces of good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So he came from the Netherlands.
Yes, ma'am.
Do the canines come from anywhere else, or just
Yes,
is that
so
the primary place?
They come all across Europe, and there's dogs from Germany, Slovakia, the Netherlands, I believe Russia, just all over Eastern and Western Europe. So
Now, they come from these other places. Is that the language they speak? Or understand, I guess, is more the...
So when we get them, they typically have no obedience commands. All they may know is their name, which Chico, that was his given name overseas, and that's why we stayed with it. He was already 2.5 years old, so why change it? He knew it at that time. But you can use whatever language you want to whenever you're training a dog. I could teach him to sit, but use the word spaghetti, because they don't know the actual word, they know the inflection. So it's the tone of voice. So if I say something to him, if he's getting into something, and I say it a complete different way than I normally do, he may not do it because he doesn't understand the tone inflection. So that's what it is you can speak whatever language.
Okay. Good. Well, so you guys do pretty much all the training. They just test them for environments and things like that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we test their drive. Are they going to go into a dark room and search for a toy? That's whenever we're selecting them. Are they going to run into bushes after a toy that we threw in?
Just natural dog instincts.
Yes, ma'am. And if somebody runs up, because they have basic bite work into them, so we'll usually have somebody holding a leash. And if somebody runs up to them, are they going to try to run the other way, or are they going to stand their ground? And their natural instinct should always be to at least protect themselves. So we test all those things.
My little dog would run the other way. My poor little dog, she would be like, hey, 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 hey. Gone. she would not survive. So what do the police dogs eat?
So K-9 Chico eats, along with our other dog at the department, they both eat Purina Pro Plan. That's what we choose to feed our dogs. We just like it. It works for them. It seems to keep them pretty slender.
So Chico doesn't get table scraps?
No, Chico doesn't get table scraps, because at the end of the day, Chico has to be at the peak performance levels, because he's a work dog, and he's expected to not only protect me with his life if he has to, but protect any citizen of Auburndale or Polk County.
Right. So it's up to the trainer what
Yes,
they feed
ma'am.
them. But it needs to be healthy, and probably, do you guys get any guidelines from the vet as to
Yeah,
what would be?
our vet sort of told us some of the brands that he liked for working / sport dogs that are a little bit higher in protein. And Purina was just one that he didn't endorse it or get anything from it, but it was something that he liked.
Right.
So we went with that.
Okay. So just a good brand for Chico.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So what do the dogs do when they're off duty?
So Chico lives with me at my house and my wife and 2 kids. He does live outside because he's a work dog, and we can't have him completely used to the AC.
Right.
Because when it gets time to work, if he's going from 60 degrees normally used to living in it to out having a track over 1.5 miles, he may get tired a lot faster. So he's got to be used to the elements, and that's why we also leave our back windows down. So he pretty much just lays around. He relaxes. When he's at home, he acts more like a dog, not a work
Do
partner.
the kids ever play with him?
I do bring him around my kids. He's so big that he doesn't mean to. He knocks them down. He actually hit one of them with his tail one time, and his tail's like a rock.
It's like when you walked out, you said, "Watch out, he'll knock you down with his
Yes.
tail."
So he's just a big puppy, full of play and everything. He'll be 7 in December, but he still acts like he's 2 or 3 years old.
So he's not outside for the safety of your family. He's outside to stay in work mode.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that he doesn't get acclimated, get soft on
Exactly.
you. Yeah.
Yep.
So when is it safe? Like, I've been sitting here petting Chico with no problems. Isn't that right? Chico and I get along just fine. But when should people approach a canine, and when should they stay away?
So, general rule of thumb, if we're out and Chico or another canine looks to be doing something work related, not like we're out here in the park talking to people, it's probably best to keep a little bit of distance. Not that he's going to run up and bite anybody, but he's doing something work
Does he give
related.
any like facial cues or?
Yes, ma'am. He can. He usually doesn't pay too much attention if he's in work mode. But the thing about it is most of the time it's tracking that people want to come up and pet him. But he's using his nose.
So his nose will be down and he'll be focused.
Yes, ma'am. And you got to think, if you're coming over here or a bunch of people are coming over to pet him, he's losing focus of the odor he's supposed to be tracking. And now we may miss somebody that's really bad that just shot somebody, or may miss a missing kid that wandered away and we're trying to go find them,
Right.
whatever the case may be. So
Right.
he has to stay on task.
Yeah, they're adding a lot of scents into the area
Yes, ma'am.
and kind of diluting the scents that he needs to follow.
Correct.
Right?
So
Yes.
if he's not working and we're just hanging out, people are always more than welcome to come talk to Chico. He's a very social dog, like you've seen. He's allowed you to pet him the whole time and he's solicited
He's
getting pets.
Approached me, come pet me.
Yes. So he's a great partner, but he also has a job to do. So when we're out working, we're there to help find somebody or whatever the case may be.
Find something or someone that needs to be found.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. So, is it more or less challenging to work with a canine than it is a human partner? Be careful on this one.
I think, me personally, I love dogs. Chico has been the best partner ever. I really couldn't ask for a better first canine partner. So for me, I would say people. He would not hesitate to do what I tell him or to put his life on the line to save me.
Right.
Because I'm the pack leader, and I just couldn't ask for a better partner for that job. So it's great. He can see and smell things that I never would.
Right.
Somebody trying to hide to hurt us, or somebody that's missing hurt, he'd be able to find them, and maybe we pass them.
So you prefer him particularly
Yes,
to a
ma'am.
human partner
Because of his,
he's so great.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he just happens to be so great. Yeah, you're a good boy, huh? All right. So, are they actually police officers, and do they have benefits?
So K-9 Chico is considered an officer with the Auburndale Police Department.
Yes.
He doesn't get a retirement or a pension per se, but he does have insurance through the city. So he gets his medical insurance paid for by the department and the city of Auburndale, which allows him, if he were to get hurt on the job,
Right.
or just routine care of every year going to get make sure his vaccinations are up to date, his nails trimmed and everything, his teeth cleaned, make sure he doesn't have any chips in it because all the training we do,
Right.
all that stuff's paid for. And then his meals are paid for by the city. So, except when he finds somebody, then he gets a cheeseburger.
I bet he has better insurance than me.
Yes, he does.
But so he doesn't get retirement or anything like that.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's
Because he doesn't
That's surprising.
technically collect a check.
yeah.
So, yeah, he just gets the
His payment is your devotion.
exactly and just
being cared for
relaxation.
and, yeah. Okay. All right. So, what age do they typically retire?
That's a great question. So, typically canines can retire anywhere from 5 years to 12 years. It's a big window. It really all just depends on how well their bodies are holding up. We ask a lot of these dogs.
Yeah.
He's probably in and out of my patrol SUV 40 times a night. Whether it's going to calls, I'm letting them take a bathroom break, we're doing a little bit of training.
Quite a jump.
Yes, ma'am. It's about 2 feet off the ground.
Uh-huh.
So it all depends on their weight. Have they gotten hurt over the years? So it just depends on how well their bodies are holding up and how well they're successfully able to continue with the job. Because we never want to put them in a situation where, because they're getting older, they can't do the job properly, and either A, they get hurt, or we get hurt, or a citizen gets hurt.
So who makes the decision?
Ultimately, it's sort of up to the vet and the department. So the vet can always recommend it, and the department has the ultimate say, but typically...
Yeah, because there's no desk duty for them.
Correct. Once they retire, they are done. So the department usually follows what the vet says because they're the experts.
So what happens when they retire?
So, like Chico is set to retire in 2022 because he'll be a little bit over 7 by that time. So at that time he will retire and he'll come he already lives at my house, but he will no longer be a police K-9 and come to work with me. He'll just be a good old house pet, a highly trained house pet.
Does he get the AC then?
Yes. Then he gets to come inside and live with my family, my
That's
2
his
kids.
retirement package.
Exactly.
Is the AC.
And we're getting a pool built, so he'll be able to enjoy the pool.
So he swims.
He does a little bit, but I'm gonna try to teach him whenever he retires, because he's just gonna be relaxing, hanging out.
So do the canines typically, is swimming part of their training?
We do it here in this county because we train. Everything goes through the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and they incorporate it in their training.
Right.
So, yes, they do. Chico wasn't a big fan of it, but it's something that we're hoping to change.
He'll learn to enjoy it when he figures out how much it cools him off.
Exactly.
Yes, he will. So how many canine officers does Auburndale have?
So we currently have 2, K-9 Chico and K-9 Rondo. Both are assigned to opposite night shifts, so that there's always a police K-9 for the city working during nights, because that's typically the busiest time that K-9s would be utilized, whether it be people breaking into cars, somebody went off missing in the middle of the night, all types of different things.
Yeah, things come out at night.
Unfortunately. but
to
he
say
does
it,
a
but-
great job.
So what can the community do? Is there anything people or the community can do to help you guys?
I would say really one of the big things is we sort of touched on earlier is when we're out working, just try to keep a little bit distance. And if he's in the middle of something, sometimes we may, shoo you away because he's got a job to do and we don't want anybody to get hurt.
So don't let your feelings get hurt.
Yes.
If you're with an officer and he is blunt and tells you to stay back because he's trying to keep you safe.
Exactly. Our ultimate goal is to keep all the citizens of not only Auburndale, but every city in the county, because we have a mutual aid where K-9 Chico and myself can go anywhere in the county and assist for K-9 related calls. So we're out there trying to do a job, and we want to make sure that nobody can get hurt by that bad person again.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest thing.
And you can't always be polite.
Correct.
You're telling people to step back. Sometimes you gotta.
Yes. And I would say the other big thing is if you see us going along and you have your dog off leash, please make sure to grab your dog. There's been a few instances where we've been out working and a dog has ran up and tried to attack him, and we have to get in between the dog and him. And luckily we were able to scare the dog off.
Chico could probably make short work of.
Yeah, we don't want anybody's dog to get hurt. We don't want K-9 Chico to get hurt.
Right.
We just want to do our job and do what we need to do.
Yeah.
So, yep. And hopefully at some point in the future we'll do some type of raffle to eventually get some updated equipment. So that would always be an option if they do something like that.
So that's something the community can look out for.
Yes, ma'am.
Is maybe watch. Is it the City of Auburndale's Facebook page or the police department's page, or would it be on both?
It's something that me and the other handler have been talking about, and we may present it to the chief at some point. But to do like a calendar raffle or something just to raise a little bit of money for the unit and update a few things.
But that's stuff that happens occasionally.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can keep our eyes out for.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay.
Here.
Well, do you want to show off a little?
If you want to just hold those in your hand.
Okay.
So what we'll do, I'll let you hold them for a sec. What we're going to do is I'll have you throw them out here. I'm going to leave Chico on his leash just for safety purposes with other people around.
Right.
And what we'll do is it's called an article search. So what he is doing whenever I give him the command is looking for an object, whatever it may be, that has fresh human odor on it. He doesn't know. I can't tell him.
I got plenty.
Yeah, I can't tell him go find a gun or a candy wrapper or a ring. He's just looking for something that has fresh human odor on it. So we'll face this way if you want to just sort of toss it behind us. Here.
Okay.
Push. Push. If you want to hold this, and whenever I tell you to, you can throw it to him.
Okay.
Here. Push. Here. You go. Push. Chico. Push. Push. On his paws. Get a work. Report. Good. You can throw it to him.
Good.
So I don't know if you saw, but he put the keys right in between both of
I
his
saw.
paws. Good boy.
He put his paws right on each side.
Yes.
Here they
So-
are, Dad.
So that's called an article search. He was a little bit wound up because he likes his toy and he's been off for the last few days. Here.
He loves his toy, and I
Push.
had it, didn't I? Yeah.
Push. Up. Up. Sit. Up. Guess. Dress. Mess. Fess. Yes. Flush. Off. Sit. Boost. Boost. Off. So he just likes to play
Yeah.
and likes to be pet.
Yeah. Sounds like part of your training is just play for you.
Oh yeah. You know, whenever we teach building searches, to them it's a game.
Right.
But the ultimate goal is to find somebody hiding from us. But to them, they're just playing hide and seek. So they love it. They have so much fun, and he knows when we're going out to training days or when it's work related that he's about to play a game. So.
So we call it work. You call it play all day long, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You call it work. You call it play. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out with us. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else you'd like to tell us?
I think that would be about it. Thank you guys for having us and allowing us to get a little bit of information about K-9 Chico and other canines in the county, just as some basic information on what to do whenever you see them and everything else.
All right. That was great information. Did you have fun?
So yes, ma'am.
Did you have fun? Yeah? Well, thank you, Chica. Thank you, Uncle Leal.
Oh, you're very welcome.